Fixed.
Is it working?
Yeah.
Are we live?
We're live.
Cool.
Finally.
Because this has been awful. This has been like at least an hour.
At least.
At least. So when you were out at the Arnold, you spent some time at the Rumble Roller booth?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Both at the Arnold and at the CrossFit Games this year.
And for those who don't know, Jeff Alexander was at the Rumble Roller booth. How did you first meet him?
I originally met Jeff at the Games 2012. And, yeah, so 2012. And then I met him again in 2013 at the Games, and he was working on me, and he was able to, in a very short amount of time, alleviate a lot of my lower back pain, as well as he actually prepped me, my hips, my psoas, so that I could actually hit hip extension more efficiently, and at the same time make sure that I could recoil fast and get my legs up high really quickly. So he made a big difference in a very short amount of time. It was pretty impressive.
That was just in your first interaction with Jeff?
Yeah, literally, like, the whole session was no longer than 30 minutes.
So would you say even though you haven't worked with us, with what we've done with the SMR methodology, would you say that you're familiar with it?
I'm familiar enough to know that what Jeff has taught me and the methodologies that he has shared with me absolutely work, and that's definitive by the fact that when he worked on me, it was immediate success. Like I was already ready to go, jumping higher, tucking faster. Everything was more efficient. It was immediate relief, if you will.
So with the SMR, do you even know what it stands for?
You know, I don't think that I do.
Some people do, some people don't. Some people think it's just like a registered, like that's the trademark for that methodology. It actually means self-myofascial release. So as opposed to having like a deep tissue massage therapist work on you, essentially using the implements that Rumble Roller provides, whether it's the Beastie or the roller itself and a few other implements that they have, it's using that item as the source of pressure versus like a thumb or a finger or an elbow or whatever it is. I think I've even heard of people using chins. That sounds weird. So it's just like you doing it yourself with an implement, myofascial release, myofascia being the soft tissue. And that's what I think Jeff has done really well, is really honed how to help lengthen and kind of pacify soft tissue. That's kind of cool, the things he's done with you. We've run into you a couple of times. We've worked with Jeff a couple of times, small circles, and I never really realized what you did until you mentioned about using the Beastie balls under your legs on the airplanes to help try and, again, lengthen those hamstrings, those $1 million hamstrings you have. So what's funny is Jeff's kind of got this overall system, and it really kind of promotes a more healthy, active, full range of motion lifestyle.
Right.
Which I think obviously we can see. But what we have found is that it really translates to Olympic lifting and improving positions. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, you think about how much you use your hips, especially in Olympic lifts, the amount of explosive recoil, amount of hip extension that's involved, how quickly all that has to be put together. If any bit and pieces of the hip complex, lumbar, hamstring, quads, or otherwise, even upper body, shoulders, whatnot, if any piece of that kinetic chain, if you will, is any bit pacified, it's really important that those things get unlocked. And just through my experiences with SMR and with Jeff in the past, and as well as you guys, seeing the benefits and seeing how quickly I can benefit from it are huge. So not only would I say just in Olympic lifts, but I would say in any movement, period.
And I would agree. Definitely, like, just improving, the most basic positions, a squat, something that every human being should fundamentally be able to do with that. It should be a pain-free movement, and it should be a relatively easy to achieve position. I think what he's done is leaps and bounds, especially for the typical American. Spends too much time in a chair, spends too much time at a desk, recreating those movement patterns and lengthening muscles and putting them in advantageous positions. But ultimately, I think it does that, and it should be used that way by far. Like, that's the biggest scope. But if you were to use it more specifically, I tend to really like how much quicker we can get someone into a good setup position on the clean, on the snatch, get them into a better deadlift position. Really tangible to anything involving a barbell.
I couldn't agree more. It makes absolute sense. And what's funny is the fact that Olympic lifting itself is a sport that you could spend your entire lifetime trying to perfect and not be able to. But there's these little aspects of it, which is what we're referring to, which can be found through working with you guys, working with SMR, that will allow you to unlock some more potential that maybe you didn't realize you had, or that you were areas that you were limited in. And that's one of the things that I feel that I like a lot about what you all do and what Jeff does, because I didn't realize, for example, when Jeff worked on me this year at the games, I didn't realize that my left leg lagged as much as it did until he worked on me, and then it went from having left leg lag to right leg lag was here, to he only worked on my left side, and literally 10 minutes max I went to here. And there's actually photo differences that they have, Jeff has online, showing the difference just from working on that left leg, and allowed me to tuck higher almost 4 to 5 inches in less than 10 minutes. So if you can unlock that potential and put someone under a bar for a clean jerk, for a snatch, or otherwise, I mean, you're looking at PRs, you're looking at a more efficient lifter, you're looking at safer positions for the lifter to be in, and muscular recruitment is being used to its full advantageous manner.
It's funny that you mentioned how quick that is, because the reason we've put an emphasis on the kind of Olympic lifts is because their preparation model, as advanced as the sport has become, especially with the influence of CrossFit in the past 5-6 years, their warm up, their regiments are really antiquated. They're still using models from 20, 30, 40 years ago, whereas it's time to start introducing mobility as opposed to stretching. It's time to introduce, looking at movement patterns and improving those patterns as opposed to just trying to force ourselves into position. Right. So I think that's one of the big benefits, and that's why we started doing a lot of incorporating. Started working with Columbus Weightlifting, collaborating on getting their athletes in better positions.
No, I agree, and it's interesting. I've spent time at several major universities of late, and at the major universities, one of the things that I'm starting to see is exactly what you're talking about. Is they're starting to finally do away with what we understood as how we need to warm up or otherwise, and how we need to prepare ourselves for movement, and they're starting to see how much benefit there is in what you guys teach, what SMR provides, what Jeff Alexander provides, and because of that, you're getting better moving athletes, students, or otherwise, and they're able to teach that methodology. Because, like you said, a lot of what you see in the real world is outdated methodology, and unfortunately, if that was the end all, there'd be no reason to have SMR, Jeff Alexander, you guys, et cetera. So it's definitely what you guys are doing is on the forefront of pushing the envelope for human potential, which is huge. And if you can take athletes like myself or otherwise who feel that they are really starting to peak in their current capabilities, and then allow them in a very short amount of time to go even higher, faster, lift heavier, etc., just by tweaking a few things, like, really, it's kind of scary where we can go as human beings.
That being said, do you intend in the future at any point to incorporate aspects of mobility that benefit things you see in the XWOD?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Actually, on the XWOD, as the past, almost I want to say like month or two, I have actually been posting Jeff Alexander's videos on SMR after each XWOD as part of mobility and stretching and otherwise. So it's definitely something that is needed, especially in the facet of the XWOD, being explosive movement, i.e., Olympic lifting, if you will, as what we're talking about in this case. It's absolutely necessary to have that, especially, if you're taking on a lot of volume and you're not taking care of yourself via SMR, you're going to start seeing digression, and that's one thing in the XWOD that we want to avoid. So if it requires us to incorporate what I believe to be the future for mobility or capabilities as athletes, then yeah, absolutely, it needs to be in there. And so yeah, we do use it, and I'm grateful to be a part of this knowledge of the future where this stuff can go.
All right, let's. I always like to, when I get someone cornered, I like to wrap it up with a two-part question.
Okay.
Do you see a benefit in the style of mobility clinic that we run, regardless if it's specifically for Olympic lifting or for CrossFit? And if so, when are you going to take one of ours?
Good question. I like that. Some semi-loaded, you could say.
You're welcome.
So, do I see a benefit both in CrossFit and Olympic lifting specifically? Oh my gosh, yes. That goes without saying, really. And am I going to do it? You better believe it. Jeff and I have actually been talking for over a year now on trying to link up our schedules so that we can make that happen. And be it either through Jeff, through you guys, it doesn't matter. I need to get in and get my own taste of the seminar itself. So it's definitely something that I plan on doing, and that I absolutely believe in, just from my previous experiences with Jeff, SMR, and you guys.
Well, I believe August 22nd and 23rd, whatever that weekend is, not only is it with us, but it's also with Jeff, all of us here in Columbus, Ohio.
Well, then I'm going to make sure that we don't book one of my seminars that weekend. So
whatever that weekend is, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, if you're free, there's a couch here waiting for you.
Perfect. Well,
all right, man, I'm going to jump off here, get back into the gym, work with some athletes. You look like you're pretty comfortable wherever you're at. I'm behind the board of craziness and doom.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see any.
But I appreciate you taking some time to talk to me today.
Yeah, no, hey, thank you, man. Not a problem, and good luck with the seminars and the clinics in the future. I know you guys, what you do is awesome. So.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
All right, bud. Take care.